Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing another video from Grab the Lantern. Today we're back with the Runeterra content. There's just been a pretty major patch on which a lot of things were addressed. I was really happy with the patch overall, but most importantly perhaps, there was a ton of changes made to specifically the Elites archetype and a couple of new cards even added for the Elites strategy in particular. Now, for those of you who know me even remotely, I love the Elites deck. It was the first deck I ever built when I started playing this game. It was the first video I did on this channel about Legends of Runeterra in general, and now that it's gotten some new support, I'm really excited to be bringing it back. I've tried to make it work over the last couple of months or so, and it just didn't really pan out, but with the new support that's been released, I'm really excited to try and make this work again. So let's go ahead and hop into this to do the card by card. Generally, this deck is going to be focusing around building up a big board of individual dudes, playing a bunch of anthem effects to pump them all up, and then go for broke with some really big attacks. And it has a couple of ways to prevent my opponent from being able to take advantage of that, of me having a bunch of units on the board at the same time. So let's go ahead and take a look at things. First up, we have 3 copies of Cithria of Cloudfield. I have swapped her out for the Penitent Squires because Penitent Squire isn't an elite, and I feel like the elite synergy is very important, and the Tattered Banner is okay. I just feel like all it does is set you back a turn, though, so much happier with Cithria at the 1 mana mark. At 2, of course, we've got Battlesmith, key for any elite strategy, alongside 3 copies of the newly nerfed Sharpsight, unfortunately. It's still very good. I still think you just automatically play it in this deck, but it's definitely weaker than it was before, alongside 3 copies of Single Combat in order to potentially trade out 1-for-1 with my opponent if they try to remove some of my cards. Up here at the 3 mana mark, we have the first of the new cards, Might of the Vanguard. Now, I'm not sure what to think about this. I guess worst case scenario, this is just a succession, right? 3 mana for a 3/3 at slow speed. That seems fine to me, but it does have the ability to potentially get a really big Dauntless Vanguard, and obviously there's the Anthem potential bonus in here as well to give other elites +2/+2, hence why we're running Cithria instead. If you're doing the math, this means that you can technically play this on 6 mana if you have full spell mana banked as well for potentially a big blowout attack. So if you kind of look at what we've got going here, the idea is to curve all the way up into turn 5, drop the Garen, and then on turn 6, Might of the Vanguard, pump everybody, and go for broke. That seems pretty decent to me. I haven't had a chance to actually resolve this yet, but we'll see how it goes in the games today. 3 copies of Vanguard Sergeant. Of course, he's going to be here because he gives us the 4 Demacias in hand for a potential other Anthem effect if we don't have Might of the Vanguard in hand. He is a little bit nerfed than before. He used to have 4 health, which was really nice, but back down to a 3/3, still very good card. And 3 copies of Vanguard Squire. This was in the very first version of this deck, and it wasn't really that nice. I didn't like it very much, but at a 3 mana mark, I actually quite like this because you can get that cost reduction down even further, be able to flood the board with Vanguard Squires, and then be able to go for broke, and worst case scenario, it's a 3/3 for 3. That's not too shabby. 2 copies of Golden Aegis. I'm only running 2 because I do feel like it's a bit of a brick at times, but it's still very powerful, so we definitely want it to be in the deck. 3 copies of Swiftwing Flight. This is actually a really neat little elite card here by giving you a little bit more of a bonus on your challenging allies. I don't have very many challenging allies, so that's not likely to come up. The important part, though, is that it gives you an option of cards to choose from. Silverwing Vanguard is a big one because I can play this on the round following the Swiftwing Vanguard and then be able to play out a big Anthem effect to pump up the whole board, or go for a Blinding Assault in order to scout out a Jarvan IV and then get an extra attack with a Jarvan on that turn. So both of those are good options, and it's a pretty decently statted card as well, especially with some Battlesmith support. 3 copies of Garen, the OG Elite Champion. He's back again with a spicy new buff where he gives every other ally +1/+1 when he comes down. That is tremendous. That means if I'm curving out turns 1 through 4, I can do something like Cithria turn 1, Battlesmith turn 2, Vanguard Sergeant turn 3, into a Vanguard Bannerman on turn 4, who somehow I skipped over, but you guys know what he does, and then into the Garen on turn 5, and just everyone is massive and swinging in, and we're doing a ton of damage, and it's going to be great. So really happy with the change that they made to Garen to make him a little bit better, because he wasn't that great beforehand. 2 copies of Swiftwing Lancer. They finally made this card an elite. This didn't used to be an elite, even though it gave you an elite when it dies. I think that was always a mistake, and I'm happy to see that they finally rectified it. So this is now the sort of removal spell of choice, because it's a 5/4 challenger, so it just hunts down and kills something, and even if it dies, it replaces itself, which makes it seem pretty good, but it is 5 mana, so I don't want to be running too many copies and make this deck too backloaded. 2 copies of Cithria the Bold. This is another option of the 6 mana mark to go for a big Anthem-like effect, especially if I am on the evens. 3 copies of Jarvan IV. He's the other elite champion, so of course we're going to be playing him, and we can trick him out with an open attack, which is pretty nice. And 2 copies of For the Fallen. Now we can get this cost down every time we play an elite, and this is what gives us the ability to play around big board wipes, because even if my opponent is able to wipe the board or play out enough combat tricks to really give us a bad time if we go for like a big attack, then we can just For the Fallen and replenish the entire board. That seems pretty decent to me, and the fact that we can play it for cheaper is nice as well. That is going to be the deck, guys. It's hopefully going to be able to curve out. This is going to lose pretty hard to decks that are able to like trade really efficiently with their removal, just 1 for 1 every time I play a card. That's where this deck is going to run into the most problems, but hopefully I have enough ways to keep my guys alive long enough to actually get some work done. So we'll see how this goes, and I will see you guys in game. Here for game 1 against Feig 1, playing a Heimerdinger, Jayce, Shadow Isles. It's going to be a lot of removal. It's not going to be any fun to play against. I'm dumping this whole hand, and we're going to have to be really smart about how we sort of structure our plays here. This hand is not great, because we're going to give him a few turns to bank spell mana, but what can you do? I'm not seeing anything early, so I wouldn't expect him to actually play any cards this early on, and I'm going to have to hope that 3 health is more than he can deal with reliably, so we'll see how this goes. Very least, we do have a single combat here, and we've got full spell mana banked for a potentially big Might of the Vanguard. It might get, the Dauntless Vanguard might get vengeanced, but, you know, we'll see. Oh, and actually, he's got nothing, so hey, we're in there for some damage. I was gonna say he could be taking the damage to just like grasp the Undying Me afterwards, but looks like that wasn't the play. We've got mana here for Sharpsight as well, which I do quite like. I'm just gonna do this just to try and stay as efficient as possible and as on curve as possible. The one thing I gotta worry about, Vile Feast. That seems fine. My assumption is he's got something that can deal like 3 damage to everything, and he's going to be able to play that to just remove all my dudes at the same time. I do have this Sharpsight to try and keep someone alive, but it looks like he's not going to bother going for it, so alright, and we have the For the Fallen. A little bit late, but does make me feel a little bit better about trying to play this out. I could still get... Okay, he's just going to Thermo Beam the Garen. There's nothing I can do to save this, so I'm just going to turn the Garen into some extra value. Actually, that was a misplay, because I could have gotten the big bump off of the Might of the Vanguard, but that's fine. So at the very least, we're going to be able to do this. We're going to be able to get in for some good damage here. 9 damage. He must be bricking pretty hard on his late game cards, and I feel so much better with this, because Ruination, he has to be main decking it. I am just so scared of him bringing that out, so... We do need to bank at least 2 spell mana on this turn, so I think the choice is just playing this Swiftwing Flight. Ooh, the Heimerdinger is a big play here for him. We're just going to run this out. We're going to take the Silverwing Vanguard. And I think we're just going to try and kill him on this next round with the Jarvan IV. I don't think we even need the Might of the Vanguard here, and I think to wait would be a bad idea. So we're just going to swing. Jarvan comes out. We challenge the Heimerdinger, and this might be game unless he's got some more removal. Okay, Flash of Brilliance to go digging for something else. 2 cards here. Okay, Mystic Shot, and he's going to try and heal off with the... He's also got a lot of turrets here, but I think he's still dead even with the heal. We're going to be able to Sharpsight out just to keep my guy alive, get a little bit more damage through, and I think that should be all she wrote. We are in there. Game 1 in the bags. I like the way the deck feels so far. That's pretty good. Now, none of this was stuff I wasn't running already, so it may be a little bit hard for me to say that, but definitely the Garen Anthem was a big deal by making my guys just that much harder to kill, that much more difficult for him to deal with. So, excited to see how the deck goes. Let's go ahead and hop into a game 2 and see if we can't keep the train rolling. Here we are for game 2 against Cork the Wine, playing Yuumi, Udyr, Pantheon. Really, really scary stuff here, and I dislike everything about it. Especially the Udyr changes, actually, I'm really excited for as well. I do want to build an Udyr focus deck at some point. Don't know when that will be, maybe the next video, but I'm happy with the changes they made to Udyr in particular. Into the Gift Giver turn 1. Well, getting slapped, nothing I can do about that. Definitely, I almost wonder if I should be running the Penitent Squire just for an extra 1-drop to, like, guarantee something turn 1. But, we'll see. He's sitting on 2 mana. Does have the gem in hand. Okay, and there's the Saga Seeker. What are the odds he has a 1-mana combat trick? What are the odds? Not high, right? Like, if he had something, he'd just be declaring a block, right? Okay, so absolutely no combat tricks because we were able to get that down. And I wanted to do that before he had an opportunity to play the gem and give his guy his Fated proc, so... Which, there it goes. And I forgot, that is another change they made where there's cast triggers now. So you get the Fated before the spell resolves, which is kind of nice. Now, I honestly feel like this may be a situation to play Might of the Vanguard here. Just dump the whole mana pool, get a 5/5. That leaves us in a decent ability to deal with a Saga Seeker, depending on if he has a combat trick or not. Okay, he's not even going to bother, so I don't feel like I need to play this now then. I think, oh, well, you know, I can't play the Swiftwing Flight, so let's just go ahead and Might of the Vanguard. This feels actually okay, because we're going to get a 5/5 for 4, which is ahead of the curve. I'm not too upset about that. He's like reading this card. He's like, what does this do? Okay, how big is this guy? It is a little awkwardly worded. I'm not going to... Oh, you know what? Interesting. Okay. So he doesn't... So Battlesmith doesn't combo with this card. Well, that sucks. I was really kind of hoping that was going to do a little bit more for me, but I guess that's okay. Alright. Now I think probably our best bet is to go for the Swiftwing Flight here. I think we still want to take the Silverwing Vanguard because I have the Battlesmith down and he'll pump both of them. We can try for a Challenger play on the Saga Seeker. Okay, yeah, he's holding his mana. That's fine, though. I think worst case scenario, we're at least in for some damage. Okay, he's actually going to throw away the Gift Giver. That's fine. I knew this was coming. I literally knew he was going to be able to get the Pale Cascade. At least he's not drawing a card off of it. You know, I did force that. And unlike with the Wounded White Flame, he doesn't heal himself whenever he kills something. So that's quite nice. Okay, on to the 5 mana mark. We could be dropping the Garen here. Give the field a pump. Have a big beefy guy to deal with his dudes. Second Saga Seeker, interesting. But yeah, we'll just come out with the Garen. That should make him a little scared to go to combat, especially with how big we're making our guy. Also, we do have the Garen's Judgment, which that's like a card no Demacian deck ever plays. But if you have the double Garen, you absolutely sucker punch people with that. So we're only going to be on 6 mana on the next turn with no Jarvan either. So we probably aren't going to be able to play that anytime soon, but that's okay. Ooh, Shaman's Call. Okay. Yeah, so this is where the Freljord stuff is coming in, the Udyr stuff. Okay, so we're going to Boar Stance to give him regeneration. He's going to be really, really big. And that's going to make him all but unkillable, I think, at this point. The question is, what do you want to do with this one? You probably give him Overwhelm as well with Wild Claw Stance, would be my guess. I don't think you really... Oh, he's actually going to play it on this guy. I think that's a mistake, personally. But, you know... We'll have to find out. He does have the attack token. If he does swing with either one of them, though, I will do whatever it takes to kill them. Okay, so actually, hear me out here. I think that the play is the Silverwing Vanguard we got off of the other Swiftwing Flight, and then challenge both of them and just get in for damage. I don't think there's a way for us to kill him. Hiara Allseer. Okay, yeah. So we do want to be coming in. We don't want the Battlesmith to die, so he's going to sit on the back. But we're going to get in for 10 damage at least. And let's single combat. So this should be a Garen flip. Assuming he has nothing for 1 mana, which it doesn't look like he does. So Garen survives this. He has striked once. Now he's going to strike twice. And that's a pretty big swing for me. Especially because now the stance swap costs full price because the Hiara Allseer died. So that's actually really big for us, not gonna lie. Still on 7 mana though, not quite to the Judgment. So I think we just have to keep chumping these guys where we can. I almost just want to play the Swiftwing Flight and kind of keep mana for either single combat or Sharpsight. Until his guys have Overwhelm, I'm not that worried about, like, the amount of damage I could take. Like, I can just chump these guys. It's not really that big a deal. This guy in particular, I'm not worried about at all. The second Shaman's Call. Okay, well, speaking of Overwhelm, so probably, like, Wild Claw Stance on the big one, Bear Stance on the small one, just to kind of bump them up evenly. Oh, he's actually going to Bear Stance the big one. Okay, so he's just going to be really, really enormous. Still gets chumped, though. Okay, and there is the Bear Stance on the small one. So now what we can do, if he's only got 2 mana available, is I'm just going to kill this guy before that spell resolves. And then we can Swiftwing Flight for 1 mana. Sadly, that doesn't give me any... I think I do take the Fleet Feather Tracker here, though, actually, because if I do come down with another unit on the next turn, it has Challenger, and it can stop this dude from crashing in. Yeah, that's fine, actually. Okay. So in we go. Nothing he can do about that. Wow, this guy's not got that many combat tricks. I keep expecting him to have something else, and he hasn't seemed to have had it so far. Oh, okay, actually. Well, you know, who needs the Fleet Feather Tracker when we're going to come down with... Oh, well, I think I think I am still going to need it. Okay, as long as he doesn't get lifesteal, we're fine, actually. Okay, he did not get lifesteal. That's a big deal. What else you got? Okay, a White Flame. We have double Challenger. What has he got left for 3 mana? He does have another stance swap. Could drop that on like the Wounded White Flame here, just give it the buff, but I think we can close out the game here. Okay, just a generic bear stance on the White Flame. Make it big. I think we're actually a little short here, unfortunately. Yeah, we're not going to be able to get in for lethal. We might be able to Sucker Punch him, though, with a big... Oh, well, Cithria off my proc there. That feels pretty bad. But he has no choice but to basically go straight to combat on his turn, because I have lethal here. We do have the Garen's Judgment, if we need it. Jarvan as well. Oh, so we can just open attack. If he develops, I think we just open attack, and we can win off of the Jarvan summon. Okay, yeah, he's gonna grab that. He's got 9 mana. The only thing I'm scared of right here is if he's got a Frostbite. He could have it. My hope is he doesn't. Oh, that's really big. Because we kill him, we still have the rally from Garen, and that was his attack token, so we're just in there for lethal. Judgment for the win, using it on a Garen. Let's go. Really close game. I was actually pretty happy with that. And that deck he was playing was interesting, but I really think he made the mistake of never going for the Wild Claw stance. I think you needed that Overwhelm to be able to push through enough damage. So, either way, happy with it so far, 2 for 2. Let's go into a game 3, see if we can't keep it going. Here against Joyler for game 3, who is playing Demacian Elites. How about that? Probably gonna, yeah, let's ditch most of this hand here. Didn't really get much better, but that's okay. We'll be able to make it work. We're gonna give this guy the Braum Wave. Fellow Elite players unite. Don't Cithria me. Don't Cithria me. He didn't Cithria me. Alright. I will take it. I will definitely take that. No 2 mana either, though. I guess we're in the same boat here. We're both waiting on our 3 mana mark here. Alright, does he Vanguard Sergeant as well? Oh, this is so funny. How do I feel about my hand versus how does he feel about his hand, I guess is the question. I'm just going to pass, you know. I don't think there's any reason for me to swing there. We need like a critical mass of units, I think, is the important thing. So neither one of us really want to be trading out 1 for 1, especially when we're not sure the contents of the other guy's hand. So interesting that he's not playing... Ooh, Durand Sculptor. Interesting. Let's get the Blinding Assault, I think. That feels like the better play. Okay, into the Squire as well for the extra pip of health. That's kind of frustrating. I don't think there's anything I can do about it. Valor, you're not an elite, right? You are not. I guess the question is, does he want to go to attacks? He doesn't. I would have tried to remove the Durand Sculptor with the single combat, but I just don't know if that's like the best play here. So I think what we want to do is probably save as much mana as we can for the Garen. Now, does he have his own Garen to give the field a pump? If he does, he is thinking about it. He's on 8 mana. There is the potential of a big Might of the Vanguard in my near future, but he wouldn't get the elite proc, so I don't think he wants to play it yet. Oh, he's just gonna for Demacia. Interesting. So I think what I will do here is just get rid of this. Yeah, I'm sure he didn't want to try it any other way. So yeah, so he's going to be able to stave off my attack here, but that's honestly fine. You know, actually, he could be ready to single combat my Garen, which would be frustrating, but not necessarily the worst thing. So we'll just pass it back. All right, and neither of us have maximum Might of the Vanguard on deck. Ooh, Swiftwing Lancer. That's not great. We do have a lot of options to deal with it, though. I think we just pass and see what kind of combat tricks he has on deck before we decide we have to commit to anything. Okay, that's the one and only attack he's taking. We'll Sharpsight. And fortunately, Sharpsight is better defensively than offensively, so this actually is giving me my Garen flip, which is really nice. And I think, yeah. So I think we'll go for this because we still keep the 3 banked spell mana. We can go for the big Might of the Vanguard on the backswing here and just really have like a big turn coming up. I gotta keep in mind, he could be main decking Judgment. I don't think it does that much, but hey, here we go. Might of the Vanguard, come through clutch. Oh my god, it's gonna resolve. Let's go. Does he have his? Does he have his? Alright, alright. We're having fun out here. That's a little awkward for me, actually. What I think I want to do... We're just going to swing like so. Valor can grab here. Actually, we want to make sure we trade at least. No, that's fine, because... Yeah, that's fine. And we'll just go for a big attack. Yeah, so he has to block here, or he's just dead. He's still taking 18. Neither of us have any mana. Valor, we're just throwing away our challengers here. That's totally fine, though. Especially given that I've got a flipped Garen, so unless he goes for an open attack on the next turn, like, I just go straight to combat. We've got this Golden Aegis in hand as well. I didn't even think about that. That's really funny, though. Ooh, for the Fallen. Okay, so we could totally... Gotcha this guy too. No cost reduction is the sad part. This card, I like it when it's like reduced mana, like maybe 5 to 6. But the full 8 feels a little bad for what it does sometimes. Okay, Broadwing is fine. Is Broadwing fine? So he does have enough blocks, I think, is the sort of sad part about this. I'll for Demacia here, actually. You know what? Because we save our mana for single combat in case... Okay. Well, he doesn't have anything. So we're really big. Interesting to see the Broadwing in this deck. I wouldn't be running it just because it lacks some of the elite synergy. It's a hell of a card, but I don't know that I like it that much. Okay, and he's gonna have a pretty big board. But this is pretty safe. This is pretty safe. We're basically going to force him to trade out with, like, everything he's got. And that's what you want to see against elites, is if they can't have sufficient dudes on the battlefield, they just kind of lose. Okay, so he's keeping the Broadwing. That's fine. Okay, we do have a flipped Jarvan on deck, which is something he doesn't have. Oh no, I'm sorry, Battlesmith. I'm sorry, Battlesmith, I gotta do it to you. And this doesn't even get my Garen. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was just backbreaking. Wow, Might of the Vanguard, actually. Hell of a card. I didn't know what to think about it, but I really, really liked that, actually. That was really good, and I like that it comes with a dude as well. That was sort of the best part about that card, is that it's not only just like, you play for Demacia and you get blown out because your opponent board wipes you, but also having the ability to then get a dude off the back of it. That's really, really good. So I'm happy with this deck. I think they gave Elites a massive, massive glow up. Now, I didn't play against anything super metagame, but it's still pretty early on the patch right now, so who knows what's actually playable and what isn't. I know there's a lot of stuff that is being kicked around, but really, really happy to see how this deck performed. Really happy with the changes that Riot made to make this much better, and hey, maybe next week we'll take a look at the Udyr deck. So anyways, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video today, go ahead and leave it a like. And if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well, plus the occasional Runeterra content on Sundays. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later.